Good day. Today I'm here with Edison Agbanji from Ancestral Essence. Edison is my spiritual teacher, and the reason I want to have this conversation with Edison today is because the classes have helped me come to such a place of clarity in my personal life, in my spiritual life, even in my business life, which everything affects. And is based on the programming that I've received as a man from boyhood and all of those programs that didn't work for me, that I've had to unlearn and then relearn new programs that actually protect me. So it's been like taking on an antivirus for my CPU, which is perfectly comparable with the computers. So good afternoon, Edison.
Dean, how you doing there, my friend? How you
Fantastic, sir.
Excellent.
Tell us a little bit about what is behind Ancestral Essence.
Ancestral Essence was our attempt to try and reintroduce the whole notion of ancestral and African spirituality back into the populace. The problem that we've had over the years is because of, how do you say, other religious organizations trying to create this fear of, what Africa has contributed to the world, their understanding of reality. And they've not wanted the people around the world to really take on a challenging idea. So through my years of going through various forms of African spirituality, but also going through Islam, Christianity, and general, not say a cult, but those sciences from the Western perspective, we came to the conclusion eventually that North, East, and West, home is best.
Yeah.
So we ended up back where we started from, and with the connection to my ancestors, which I've subsequently gone to show many people to do afterwards, we were able to see what this world reality story is made of. And we were able to look at ways we can deprogram people's minds, as you said in the introduction, so that people now can function from themselves. The whole concept was to sell you back yourself. Everyone else wants you to follow this and follow that and follow this. And I don't want anyone to follow me. I just want them to follow their thoughts inside themselves. So the legacy of what all of their ancestors that are part of their blood, part of their DNA, part of their own sort of intelligence and their interface into this world, they have all that wisdom, knowledge inside of them. We want them to reconnect to that so that they can see all the real power that they have at their disposal and how they've been, how do you say, living inside their own mind, but with someone else's rules.
Absolutely. That brings me perfectly to one of the most important things you said to me right at the beginning, in that there's nothing wrong with us, but there's something wrong with our story. Tell me about that.
Well, most people are not living their life. They're living their story. They've created a program for all the information that they've been given. And this program, they've created a set of instructions of what they should feel guilty about, what they should feel happy about, what they should try and achieve. And the problem is, none of those aspirations are their own. It's still the simple boy meets girl, boy gets involved with girl, boy finds ways and woman finds ways to live a life together. And through all the tremors that we have on the outside, that is still the actual thing that we're living to do. The thing is, now we've got seduced by the external story. So people are now focused on, I want a career over a relationship. I want to be, and for women, poor things, because they were introduced into the workplace, they had to become men in their workplaces, and as such now, there's been this whole mix match where the men not sure what they're supposed to be, what they're supposed to live at. And again, there's this crazy confusion amongst men to be more masculine, or to be more aggressive when they're not naturally that way.
Yeah.
You know? So in this confusion and no one knowing what the traditional society and couple and how to conduct yourself is supposed to be like, we've now been given this modern version that doesn't work. We can clearly see.
Yeah.
So with the guidance that you have within yourself, with the conversations that you have inside yourself, we want you to reconnect to those things, and so that your story is the one that you were born to have, not one that someone has decided that's all you can have.
Absolutely. So for me, in taking that on board, it was becoming a lot quieter, becoming less embroiled with all of the stories that are going on externally. There's always some oppression, there's always some story, something has happened. And what I had done over the course of 3 years is just run away from myself with everybody else's story, under the illusion that I'm in service of other people, where really there's very little that I can actually do about it personally. And like when people say that 10,000 hours of building something to mastery, until you're by yourself and you create something, there actually isn't anything for you to do with anybody else. You can come and say some nice words that contribute to the story, but in actuality, I realized that it was a fallacy that I was actually doing anything other than making people feel a little bit more comfort. And that's wonderful. But I knew the fraud within myself of just being there in person and saying nice words actually changes nothing of the structure of this matrix. You're going to be by yourself. And this is why my favorite rapper, Jay-Z, will always give me the lines. Until you're by yourself, you can't be me. Until you're by yourself, you can't be free. And he followed that up in 2016 with how we're still going to be slaves in 2016. But we are slaves to stories based on the tenets of religion. And we see it all the way from COVID down now to the war. And there was such a smooth transition, just a cut, not a fade, a direct cut that says, leave that story, now follow this story. What's about the lines of programming that affect our operating systems?
Well, your child that you send to school is of value to you. But as soon as it enters the classroom, it's stripped of any value. This child now, unless it actually memorizes and at speed can recite what is informed or programmed or uploaded to the child is deemed useless to society and to itself. It doesn't know what is the world and what it entails, because that's only an idea that it has inside its brain. But it does know that it's deemed a loser. It's less than. And by those who have created that system, they haven't entirely told the whole truth. And they know behind much of what they've said, it's been very much skewed in the direction of a few. Yeah, the entirety of history, the different groups are told in ways in which people can't garnish any sort of support from, because people need a foundation. They need to know some people like them has done something in order to step on that idea, to know that they have the value to create that within themselves.
Yeah.
So the matrix, I always say, is the initiation into the story that now has been proliferated as the truth, which is just a version that has had you say the best crimes are hidden by the pen. They can just be written out of history, so no one's aware of what's taken place. So for us now, we have been brought up in a mindset where someone has told us that unless we aspire and worship them, we are worthless to ourselves.
Absolutely.
And society. So therefore, you find that you take on an artificial aspirations to be something that you're never going to be really appreciated as. And the actual true journey that you came with within your mind, within your consciousness, to become something, to see the people you're supposed to see, to meet the people you're supposed to meet, and to have the experiences you're supposed to have, has now been sidetracked with you having to work as a slave in a game where someone is giving you to play.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll never, ever achieve what you want. All you'll achieve is someone else saying you've done well. You internally will not feel the actual progress because it's external progress that you've actually achieved. Yeah. Your internal development of yourself and becoming that person you know that's inside. Most people are suffering because they said, you know what, I know that I'm better inside. There's a better version of me inside me. But it's inside you. But you're looking outside for it. And you're wondering why. Whenever you go to all these different people, they can never say enough to you to make you feel that inside development.
Yeah.
Now, the wild thing is, the world is only your perspective. If you've not been to Afghanistan, you can't tell us what's going on over there. You can't tell us what's going on in Siberia. You can't tell us what's going on in Africa. So the world is only your experiences as an individual. And what you're only ever trying to fix is your belief or your moral understanding about your experiences. You're only ever trying to fix your own opinion. But your logic is based on your experience and knowledge. And if you have no knowledge other than what someone else has given you, and you can only recite what other people have said, then you're not really here. You're not really in the game, are you?
Absolutely.
All you're doing is a caricature that someone wrote for you, and you're wondering why you can't feel no satisfaction. You can't buy you back your respect for yourself. No matter what you have, you're still going to be in a situation where you're waiting for someone else to say, didn't you do well?
Yeah.
And that comes again from the education system, where essentially you had to do well to receive the qualification to give you validation and to give you value. And if you fell in the qualifications to memorize and recite, you've got no validation that you're intelligent, so you perceive yourself as having no value.
Absolutely.
And therefore, this little child that went Tandalon to school, now at 18, is this, depressed person thinking, how am I going to go out into this world when I haven't got what I need? And the people that created the system don't actually have to apply by those rules.
No. I realize I always knew that school was an indoctrination system, but I never actually realized the in-your-face power of that indoctrination until I'd gone to see a play before I took my boy out of school. So from 5 to 7, my son attended state school, and then we homeschooled him. But the children were talking before the play started, and the teacher said, "Children," and nobody listened. And then they went, and every child's head spun round like a orb, and there was absolute silence. All the parents looked at each other, horrified. And all the teacher did, and every single child was immediately had been programmed to be silent and complicit.
Thank you. Thank you. We say that a teacher, a preacher, and a politician are trained hypnotists. 3 is the magic number.